The Highline Racing League decides its Season 18 champion tonight. We've raced now more than 13 complete events, and by this point there are only two clear championship outliers, both of which on the same team. One a former champion, one still chasing after their first. Tonight we figure out which of those two come away with the title as you are watching the Westlake Royal Building Products Premier Series. Live on FTN from the virtual Auto Club Speedway, we return back to the site of Fontana, California. The 2-mile circuit returns in its virtual glory, and while it might not exist any longer in the real world, it come back again on iRacing with the most important event on the schedule. I'll be your host for tonight's event. I'm David Kreutz, commentating and producing, and this is a race we've been building up to all year long. Fontana, California, Auto Club Speedway, one of the best known tracks on the schedule, of course, not only because of its previous significance as a season opener, but also because it's a fan favorite circuit. The 2-mile track gives way to high speeds, clean racing, and exciting racing. It's a wide track, it's a fast track, and it's all around pretty well liked. So as it stands with qualifying on the way, some of your quickest drivers have already set some of the quickest times. Currently, Adam Bozzi leads the timing charts by 5/1,000ths of a second. Then immediately after, you're going to have Scott Zellner, Alan Cummin, and Kendall Kerr with just 2.5 minutes remaining as it stands. Tyler Hampton shoots up to the top of the board. Hampton looking to continue his own success and win his third consecutive season finale. The only driver here in the Highline Racing League who has won 2 consecutive season finales and done so in completely different eras, with the Gen 4 in season 16, with the Xfinity Series car in season 17 at 2 different tracks. He'd be able to do so again tonight. Of course, starting from the pole position would help him out an awful lot. Tyler Hampton, Mr. Consistency on these final nights, and maybe a season from now he might be the driver who comes away with the championship if he wins on that final event. Scott Wheeler gets up to 4th, Kendall Kerr 5th, and Scott Zellner in 6th. Scott Zellner chasing his own personal accolade, looking for what could be win number 20 on his career, the winningest all-time driver, the only driver to have more than 10 wins, the only driver to have more than 15 wins, and of course he's up to 19 now after his victory last week. He'll be starting tonight in 6th, a very respectable position. And Lucas Lodato finds himself P17. Jimmy McKee now with a chance to maybe break toward the top 5 as the number 48 machine comes across the line. That will only be 14th. And for McKee, who's competing against Alan Cummin for the championship, starting outside the top 10 is a no-go, and unfortunately he will have to live with it. Jason Harris now going to be the only other driver still taking a time here, and he'll be the last driver to take a run. Jason's first lap will put him in 22nd here, so he'll go for his next and hope it's a little bit better, as right now he doesn't find himself up inside the top 20. Maybe with some recent success, he'll be able to turn around in the race, but his qualifying run will end prematurely as he slides off the track, and Scott Wheeler heads down a pit road. Looks like right now every driver off the circuit, 21 drivers taking officially validated laps. Jason Harris making an attempt, Robert Kenny and Ryan Potter, the only other 2 drivers who were not able to set a time, nor did they go out and attempt a lap. Caution not out, but the red flag is, which means this session is over. Qualifying has concluded for season 18, and 2-time season finale winner Tyler Hampton finds himself with the pole position here in Auto Club. Time to move on now to your last feature of the season: 100 final laps, 200 final miles. That's what awaits the field in the Highline Racing League as we are set to go racing for the final time in 2024. The iRacing official pace car will lead the field as we all get put together again. 24 drivers registered. Tyler Hampton, you see him on the right side of your screen. So let's get to know that starting grid from top to bottom here in Auto Club. Inside of row number 1, it's going to be Tyler Hampton, a driver who's been here before and won multiple times over. His first ever Highline Racing League race was the finale of season 16. He won that race outright, and he won last year's season finale as well. well for season 17. Now a chance to do it all over again. He'll start alongside part-time driver, the number 83, Sebastian Miller. Then from there, you're going to have P3, Adam Bazzi, and Scott Wheeler, the season 14 champion, who was able to get the job done, of course, starting the season strong in Auto Club in season 14 at this very track. He's P4 to start tonight. 5th place is going to be Kendall Kerr, and 6th place is going to be Scott Zellner, with 7th spot on the order then and there going to Alan Kunman. Corey Blevins has been looking real good. He's coming off of his career high, or rather season high finish, 2nd place. One-time former winner, he's looking strong to get that top 10 pace again. He starts tonight in 8th. 9th place is going to be Chad Winstead, defending champ. He will not be able to go for back-to-back titles. And Terry Brooks will round out the top 10. 11th place, Matt Muir. Dawson Buchanan will be in 12th, with 13th place then Kenny Brooks and Jimmy McKee, P14. 15th place will be then Austin Bloom and Dylan Poteet will start in 16th tonight. 17th place, Matthew Rodriguez, and then 18th, Lucas Ladato. 19th and 20th, Tyler Snyder and Caleb Morrissey respectively. At 21st place, then and there is Colton Gardner. Ryan Potter in the number 99 is in 22nd. Final 2 drivers on the starting grid tonight, Robert Kenny and Jason Harris, the number 10 and the number 88. Both of which not able to set officially validated times here in Fontana. Your final starting grid of the season and your final starting grid of the year is led tonight by Tyler Hampton. Hampton looking to achieve a slice of history here, but a championship battle comes down to the man you see in the number 8 on your screen now. Alan Kunman comes in 35 points up on the next best competitor in Jimmy McKee. If Alan Kunman is to finish this race at all, and if Jimmy McKee is not to win, then Alan Kunman will be a 2-time champion by the end of this feature. That remains to be seen though, and it all comes down to whether or not the field is cooperative. Green flag is going to come out, and the number 5 of Hampton will lead us there. Sebastian Miller's best finish so far this season is 2nd place. He might be looking to match him bested tonight as he kicks off the field alongside the number 5. One last time in season 18, we are green from Auto Club Speedway. Tyler Hampton brings the field up to pace as we go through turns 1 and 2. The number 5 is up and ahead. Hampton holds his own, the rest of the field stays right behind, and we've already picked up where we left off. Green flag racing was the trend last week, and it looks like we're going to keep things pretty solid all over again. We saw some quite unexpected drivers up in front last week getting the job done. Of course, intermediate racing does give a lot of chances to practice and prepare. Auto Club in Michigan, maybe not so much. One driver going to go sliding. That looked to be Kenny Brooks as Dylan Poteet gets up to him. Meanwhile, up at the head of the field, everything looks to be calm, and while at a high speed, there's really not a lot of changing going on when it comes to position. That's something you're definitely going to notice as the night progresses here. These drivers are not going to be all over one another in the sense that they're going to be racing hard, but they're definitely going to be close to each other. There's a lot of room here in the Auto Club Speedway, and you can see the bottom of the circuit might be the most occupied, but you can go to the middle, you can go all the way up top, and really, there isn't much a concern about what the right thing to do is. There's a lot of options, and a lot of good options at that. So far, though, it just looks like the bottom has been the most selected of all those. Alan Cummins going to find himself right now in 10th, still ahead of Jimmy McKee, and if he is to finish ahead of McKee, he will win the championship automatically. So far, the scenario is really loaded in Alan Cummins' favor. It really comes down to whether or not he doesn't make a cataclysmic mistake or somehow get disqualified. Jimmy McKee right there is going to bounce right off the exit of turn 2, and it looks like he'll make a little bit of a mistake. Nothing all too crazy, and he'll be able to keep himself together even with that minor bobble. So, in all honesty, championship is not wrapped up yet, but right now, Alan Cummins is in a very good spot to get the job done, and he's doing so in a full season points format, something he did not do last season where he won a championship, which was season 15. Kenny Brooks going for a slide, and talk about a drift. The 54 is going to keep himself alive, nearly 45 degrees sideways. Kenny Brooks, all sorts of loose, and he still keeps it together, only to go down to the inside, and he's got it locked up. Brooks into the wall and hard. Does the caution fly? So far, no, but Kenny Brooks from amazing save to his race is already over. Yellow flag, not out. Take a look back with Kenny Brooks. Here's an instant replay. And this shows you the incident. Caution is out for the first time tonight. Jimmy McKee into Kenny Brooks, and a save worth noting, and almost looked to get him out of it. But as Kenny Brooks got through turns 1 and 2, it looks like got loose. And that's because Tyler Snyder hit him and shot the 54 down. Unfortunately, nothing of his own doing. Tyler Snyder, however, was hit, and Snyder gets lucky because he gets turned around because of that contact. Take a look back overhead to show what happened again. Robert Kenny into Tyler Snyder. Then Kenny Brooks is going to fade back, and the 54 is the one that gets the worst of it. Snyder almost gets away completely unscathed as a result of everyone ping-ponging back and forth to kick off that event. So, caution's out. Number 5 of Tyler Hampton's going to keep himself up and ahead, and he's led every lap so far, and he'll continue to do so as he gets up toward the iRacing official pace car. Kendall Kerr, Sebastian Miller, Adam Bozzi, Scott Wheeler make up your top 5. 7 laps in, Tyler Hampton is in control. Right now, looking at the top 10, a few notable changes. Some drivers have fallen out of it. Scott Zellner, 6th down to 13th. He's lost the most positions so far, so not the best of starts as Zellner attempts to go for 2 consecutive wins and a 20th career victory. Moreover, Alan Cummins in that number 8 machine has gone from 7th down to 11th. Mind you, not much of a concern for your points leader, so long as he finishes up and ahead, of course, of Jimmy McKee. So right now, Cummins still looks to be in a pretty good spot. Shouldn't have to be all too concerned about what happens. Next from there, you'll see another driver who just fell out of the picture. It's going to be Matt Muir, 11th. 9th, he's been going back and forth. Chad Winstead, 9th up to 7th. He's made some gains. So far, the biggest mover on the night looks to be 22nd up to 17th, Robert Kenny. But after getting involved in that incident, that is sure to change. Robert Kenny drops in, 8 laps in out of 100. You got Tyler Hampton here. He's got himself P1. The leading man when we will go back green for lap number 10. Tyler is going to hold control. Then you got Kendall Kerr, Sebastian Miller, Adam Bozzi, and Scott Wheeler. That's the top 5. As it stands, Corey Blevins gets up to 6th. Chad Winstead is going to be P7. Dawson Buchanan is in 8th with Matt Muir then in 9th. Dawson Buchanan is a rookie you got to look out for, maybe in a similar vein to what we said of Tyler Hampton when he first got started. But Dawson has not only been quick, but he has gotten quicker, and he's become a consistent top 10 threat at the very minimum each and every week, especially as of recent. Starting to see Dawson hit up the podium week in, week out. It's number 4. That's got to be something, of course, that has to be looked out for. Dawson Buchanan and company, we'll see what happens here for the number 4. Matt Muir, number 70, also getting himself in the mix. Terry Brooks going to be final driver in the top 10, of course, number 23. Jacob Hall in the chat room talked about miscommunication between drivers and admin. Well, just looks like a little bit of lateness because Brooks went around on his own. Then there was a multi-car incident involving Tyler Snyder and Kenny Brooks. Perhaps you could say Snyder wasn't really involved. He didn't lose control of the car, but he definitely turned in because he was hit to Kenny Brooks. And so caution a little bit late, but nevertheless serves the same purpose. First incident of the night, and unfortunately that might be the end to Kenny Brooks' season prematurely here. Yellow flag is out, and it will, the first time tonight, go away for lap number 10, your opening restart. Kenny, as it stands, is 2 laps down. We'll see whether or not he gets back with us tonight. And it looks like right now, the rest of the field is still on the lead lap. Matthew Rodriguez, the last man on the lead lap in 22nd. Tyler Hampton is still your leader. 9 laps in out of 100 so far. And we'll be going to the double digits when we go green once again for lap 10. Sebastian Miller also keeping himself in the mix. A very strong start for the number 83. He decides to take it up top, and it looks like he was rather confident with the way things started before. He'll take the track position rather than following the leader. Kendall Kerr is going to decide to follow Tyler Hampton here, so a lot of faith being placed in that number 5. I think it's for good reason. Adam Bozzi also going to find himself in the top 4. Adam getting very close to the driver of the number 27. Green flag and drop. Down and in goes the iRacing pace car, and it's going to be Tyler Hampton's time to get things going. First restart of the day, same front row as before. Everyone gets away, a little bit of a shakeup, but no stack up and no big trouble. Tyler Hampton gets going for restart number 1 and brings with them Sebastian Miller. Mostly single file now, making it down the back straightaway again. Scott Wheeler looking for Dawson Buchanan, and this is going to be the battle for P6. Chad Winstead finds himself just behind as he watches the 97 go through manufactured teammates Scott Wheeler and Chad Winstead. Doesn't really often come up, but interesting to see 2 Toyotas and 2 Fords going at it side by side. The rest of this train is entirely single file, and while Sebastian Miller right now holds control over Kendall Kerr and a majority of this main pack behind, Tyler Hampton has again driven away, and something about these last nights of the season has made Tyler Hampton an almost unstoppable force. Season 16, he was not in the championship fight, didn't have to concern himself with that. He ran away and made sure everyone knew it. Season 17, of course, it was a multi-car fight for the title. Tyler Hampton even still got the victory in the finale. And now it looks like tonight, the number 5 again is looking strong, and he's up and ahead. Looks like right now, nobody able to get back up to him. 0.4 of a second back last time by, this time through 65 100. So the gap is expanded by more than a tenth. Kendall Kerr is losing time compared to the number 5. And here comes Sebastian Miller looking down low with Corey Blevins. Moreover, Adam Bozzi and Scott Wheeler are going to be at each other's throats. Dylan Poteet gets up inside the top 10 for the first time tonight, and that's going to leave Alan Cummins and Jimmy McKee to fight amongst each other. 3 wide with Adam Bozzi now heading down to the bottom, and a major surge for the 27, looking to take 3 positions. He'll end up taking none as he gets loose alongside the 21 of Kendall Kerr. Wow, what a pass that could have been for Adam Bozzi, and it looks like he got a little bit too much of an opportunistic attitude there, and it was a great attempt. Just did not stick. Meanwhile, take a look at the championship contenders here. Alan Cummins and Jim McKee were as good as side by side just about a lap ago. And again, Alan Cummins right now really doesn't have much to worry about. As long as he doesn't get disqualified, it's practically impossible for him to lose this championship, which isn't to say a disqualification cannot happen. But right now, being up in the championship standings by 35 points in this season finale, it's a huge margin margin of error, and Alan Cumming can use that to his advantage, especially since he's battling against Jimmy McKee first and foremost, the driver who is now multiple spots behind him. So Alan should not have to worry all too much about what's going on with the number 48 or himself. It just comes down to hitting your marks and remaining consistent. 14 laps in out of 100 so far. The opening laps, only one yellow flag, and the goal from here is to keep things clean. Now, Corey Blevins gets back up inside the podium, and the number 24 has been red hot as of late, talking about where the speed started in Bristol, but last week able to come away with a top 2 finish. Corey Blevins is now turning that new leaf, and I think we got a chance to see a new side of the number 24. Corey, as it stands, looking for what could be his second consecutive podium, and he might be looking for P2 outright here. The number 21 of Kendall Kerr's got to watch, but it looks like there's nothing more he can do than just that. No defense is going to stop the number 24 as Blevins continues the hard charge. And Corey, advantageous, but just slightly for second. Matt Muir to the wall. It looks like now Alan Cumming getting right back up to him and almost getting himself involved in the top 5 fight. But with that little jumble up, Matt Muir is going to have a little bit more space to get through Alan Cumming. Leader of the pack is going to be Kendall Kerr. Leader of the race is going to be Tyler Hampton, now more than a second ahead. Nobody's got anything to match Hampton, but the rest of the field is pretty even with itself. And so Corey Blevins in third. I'm sure he knows now he's got a fair shot to get up to that 21. Dawson Buchanan, Matt Muir, and Alan Cumming 3 wide once again. Here comes Dylan Poteet trying to get in the mix, and Adam Bozzi is just ahead here. Defense, offense, all levels of aggression. You're going to see them coming together once more. It looks like right now for Alan Cumming, he's going to actually try to get himself in the mix of the front battle, which is interesting given that he doesn't have much to prove and much to lose, given he has the championship lead. Maybe one extra win would be nice. It would be his third of the season, but so far Alan doesn't have to stress about whether or not tonight is an overall victory. The points have not been reset, and it is all about your season-long performance rather than just one race. Cumming has been in that do-or-die situation before, and that's why the number 8 isn't one to play around about being far behind and instead chooses to push up and ahead. Champion in season 15 in large part due to making the most of the playoff system. Jimmy McKee, Alan Cumming, Scott Wheeler were really the drivers to look out for in season 15. But when you go down to one race to decide the champion, any one of them can take it home. And Alan Cumming did just that, performing clutch miracles in the last race of the campaign to become a first-time champion. Now he's just about 80 laps away from becoming a 2-time champion as he heads up 3 wide looking for the race lead. He's not, but this will guarantee him second place if the pass sticks. Getting by Kendall Kerr, and now looking to get by Corey Blevins. Alan Cumming with a burst of confidence gets up to P2, and so far he's got the spot uncontested. Meanwhile, Jimmy McKee mired back. Jimmy not able to get up to the overall top spot of the podium once this season, but he's still within a race's worth of points on Alan Cumming by virtue of his consistency. Alan Cumming, we know he's gotten victories this season, and we know he's been almost as consistent as Jimmy McKee, but McKee has been in the top 10 almost every race with the exception of Daytona. That's something no other driver has been able to do, simply put. Sebastian Miller now going to get loose and drop to the inside. He's got himself a fight now to even stay inside the top 5. Wheeler, Muir, Kerr, and Chad Winstead all going to make it a nearly 4-wide battle. And now, it looks like Seb Miller going to be in the losing end of all of which. Now it's going to be 3 wide even further ahead. Chad Winstead up top, Scott Wheeler in the middle, and Matt Muir was low. He'll have to concede once again. 20 laps in out of 100. Overall, it looks like this opening stint is going quite nicely. Getting one early caution out of the way. Unfortunately, it looks like Kenny Brooks is out of this event. 12 laps down and no signs of returning. Jacob Brooks in the chat room, the number 54 had a great save, and unfortunately, contact because Tyler Snyder hit by the number 10 of Robert Kenny, and that chain reaction is going to end up causing the number 54 to be the victim in that outcome. Right now, it looks like the 97 of Scott Wheeler sitting quite well behind the driver, the number 1 in Chad Winstead, former champions alongside one another. Then you got Dylan Poteet, Dawson Buchanan, and Corey Blevins. This is going to be a gaggle of race cars you got to look out for all night long. The heart of the pack is always the closest, always where the most multi-groove racing is, and that proves the same again today. Kendall Kerr getting in the middle of another 3-wide bout. And we've seen quite a few so far. Don't think that 3-wide is going to be the most intense, most exciting racing you're going to see all throughout this night. But it might be an incident. Kendall Kerr up the track, and he's going to be shot up to the wall. Yellow flag's out. Kendall Kerr involved in an incident. And the yellow flag out for the second time tonight as Kerr gets spun up the track and goes for a quick 360 out of his own control. Yellow flag is flying. Take a look back and see why. As Kendall Kerr, well, his race is not over based on that damage, but certainly not going to be an easy fight back for the 21. This is what happened, and it looks like contact with Matt Muir sends Kerr up the track, and just getting lodged together with the number 70 shoots him up the circuit. If we take a look on board now with the number 21 of Kendall Kerr, you might see a little bit more as to what it was like before the incident happened. And if you take a look here from the hood camera, you can see side by side with Matt Muir briefly. Inside the car, you'll see the hand movements, and Kendall Kerr pointing it straight, really didn't seem to be concerned about going left or right. And then hits. Unfortunately for Kendall Kerr, just too close with too little room to escape. The 21 should be able to get away. The job is not done. Nevertheless, going to be some early problems as drivers now head down into pit road. Tyler Hampton in the number 5 is going to drop in, and he will lead the rest of the field through. Four tires and fuel is due to be the recipe as drivers head in for their first pit stops of the night. Alan Kunman, as it stands, looks to be your overall race leader on account of not going into pit road. Kunman does have the ability to decide to try something different or something new, not being all too concerned about the point scenario as long as he stays on the lead lap. Tyler Hampton's going to be the leader off of pit road. Then you got Corey Blevins, Dawson Buchanan. Following them, you'll see Scott Wheeler, Dylan Poteet, Chad Winstead, Jimmy McKee, Jason Harris, and Matthew Rodriguez make up the remainder of the top 10. Jason Harris, Adam Bozzi and company coming through, and currently Alan Kunman is the only driver to have stayed out. Exception, as a matter of fact, will be Caleb Morrissey. We'll see whether or not Morrissey decides to do something a little bit different here. Then you got Tyler Hampton and company coming right up again. So with two drivers deciding to go for this alternate strategy, two very familiar drivers to doing things different. Caleb Morrissey, 1 victory so far in the campaign. Alan Kunman with 2. And these two drivers have not been afraid to shift things up and do things in a little bit of a different fashion. If most drivers go one way, they usually go the other. And it has led to success before, although sometimes, admittedly, it does lead to failure. Now the question becomes, can you succeed even when doing things different in the final race of the season, when the pressure, of course, and the odds are all stacked perhaps against everyone? There's one driver that's been dominant so far, but the rest of the pack really hasn't been able to bring it just yet. Now we figure out whether or not they can. New race leader, enter Alan Kunman and Caleb Morrissey. With your championship leader up and ahead, the field will go racing for green flag action at lap number 25. Kunman going to be there with Caleb Morrissey. Then you'll have Tyler Hampton once again. Hampton looking to put himself back in front. You got then, immediately after, Corey Blevins in the number 24. Scott Wheeler, the number 97 in 5th. And Dawson Buchanan there in 6th. Dylan Poteet is 7th and Chad Winstead's 8th with Jimmy McKee 9th and P10 going to be held by the 48. Terry Brooks, Matt Muir make up the final drivers in the top dozen, and Alan Kunman is getting ready to do things all over again. This time, it'll be his way. 7th up the first for the number 8 of Alan Kunman, and 6th Well, that's the spot that Caleb Morrissey was previously in before we went to pit road. He started tonight in 20th. He's up to second, up a total of 19 spots on the day. Talk about a wonderful performance. iRacing official pace car drives deep again. Enter the number 6 of Caleb Morris. He's on the bottom, but your control car is Alan Cummin. Green flags out once more. Let's get things going with the number 8 advantageous 25 laps in. Cummin and Morrissey lead the field through. Three wide now is going to be Caleb Morrissey far and away ahead for the battle for second. Only for Corey Blevins to dive deep. Heading in for P2, the driver, the number 24, makes his way around and enters second place. Corey Blevins. Caleb Morrissey going to be up top. Dawson Buchanan down on the bottom. And it's time to get things going again as Tyler Hampton leads. Hampton's got that jump, and he's been able to use it each and every single time. Didn't even start in the front row this time through, and he's still advantageous. So now the number 5 is going to have himself up and ahead. Then you got Corey Blevins, Dawson Buchanan. They're fighting for second, respectively. It looks like Caleb Morrissey right now and Alan Cummin are both facing the same setbacks. Old rubber sometimes has major problems. We saw it earlier tonight in the Iora Cup Series with one driver in particular, Devins Baker, wrecking on a restart. That didn't happen, luckily, this time here with either Cummin or Morrissey. But that does tend to occur if drivers are not prepared to do the right thing with their tires and maybe bow out, get out of the way of the drivers who absolutely need that room. Chaos ensues. And so as a result, luckily we haven't seen that for Caleb Morrissey or Alan Cummin, but definitely not the best start for either of which. And as they fall back, Tyler Hampton gets a chance to control this race again. Keep in mind, championship picture right now is pretty rock solid. Alan Cummin has to do one thing: finish this race. And if he does so, the championship is basically his, as long as he doesn't get disqualified for any reason. As it stands, you're going to see Alan Cummin still going strong. Jimmy McKee, though, is having a stronger race right now, getting himself up to P7. And as Jimmy does so, the number 27 of Adam Bozzi dives deep all over again. Adam's going to find himself lunging low. The number 48 is going to be now through the middle. There's Matt Muir, and Matt might be able to get himself back in the fight. He was involved previously, of course, with Kendall Kerr, and while Kendall is running, it's very similar to the situation last week for Kerr, running with damage, and that's going to be a very unfortunate way to end the season. No other second chances for the Blacktop Racing number 21. Kendall Kerr, though, going to see his teammate fighting for the championship, but once again, going to be almost from the sidelines. If you take a ride on board right now with the number 5 of Tyler Hampton, you'll see exactly what he's doing. Let's take a look and see what our race leader's up to and see it with driver telemetry. Up to 187 miles an hour through the straightaways. Tyler Hampton has proven time and again he knows what it's like at these fast tracks, and he's got himself the lead for that reason. However, it's not as big an advantage as it was before. Take a look behind and you'll see Dawson Buchanan in that number 4. Dawson is now within a half second. As a matter of fact, he's gotten very close to within a quarter second. Corey Blevins is going to be P3. Fourth place is going to be Dylan Poteet, and as it stands, it looks like Dawson Buchanan might be the first driver to bring down the reign of Tyler Hampton, and this might be a change that impacts the rest of the race. Buchanan currently is going to be just a quarter second back. Corey Blevins, a half second back. A quarter second back on the number 24. So everyone going to be equally spread out, and then you got that main pack, the Hornet's Nest, which is now largely single file. Maybe seeing a little bit less aggression now as we look forward to what could be a long green flag run. Tire strategy shouldn't be all too complicated, shall we say. There's definitely going to be a lot that goes into when we go to pit road, because it's not going to be as simple as going down at lap number 50. We might see some drivers come in lap number 60, 65, maybe some of which going in at around lap number 70, but we should only see one more pit stop from here unless something extreme happens, such as another incident, or we go into the overtime scenario where we have more racing after lap 100. Otherwise, we are expecting to see one pit stop from here. Door banging once again. Adam Bozzi and, of course, Jimmy McKee. They've got themselves nose to nose after going door to door. Adam's going to be the driver that falls back, and the 48 of Jimmy McKee is the man that gets away. Single file again, and Matt Muir's coming up on the case. Sebastian Miller now looking to recover from falling outside of the top 10. He gets back up to that 10th spot, and now maybe a chance to do a little bit more here and get up to the single digits. End goal, of course, for Seb Miller, if tonight were to be ideal, maybe that first Highline Racing League victory. We saw him on Monday nights in the Integrity Ignite Series, Tuesday nights in the Integrity Octane Series, and we've seen him for the most part on Thursday nights in the Highline Racing League. Still, he's gotten close. Seb Miller has gotten really close, like podium speed in the Ignite Series, top 5 speed in the Octane Series, and a top 2 in the Highline Racing League. But when it comes to his FTN career, P2 is the best he's gotten. And that's not to say he hasn't been close, but the results haven't been there. At least so far. Doesn't mean he can't improve, but so far that number 83 still has a lot of time remaining until the job is done, and maybe some time to get back up there again. But if qualifying speed is any indicator, perhaps Sebastian Miller has more in him than what we believe. Dawson Buchanan, new race leader as Tyler Hampton falls back now to 3rd place. Looks like Hampton maybe not experiencing these new weather changes all too well. You might have noticed sun covered down the back straightaway and through turns 3 and 4. So with a little bit of a condition change, Tyler Hampton may be experiencing it differently than other drivers. And while these drivers are on the same setup, the way they drive could be completely different. And now Hampton, for the first time tonight, is not your race leader. Dawson Buchanan and Corey Blevins, who have been late season inevitables for a race victory, now we're going to battle one another. But Tyler Hampton's not done just yet. He might have fallen back, but he definitely has not fallen out of the favor. He's got the number 5 machine here who's looking up top on Corey Blevins, and maybe a chance to take back 2nd before the fight is over. Dawson Buchanan still ever so slightly leads this train. Hampton's going to have himself right there 3rd, and Dylan Poteet, as a matter of fact, is up to P4. 4th place right now in the Menards machine. Dylan Poteet has been on a wild ride today, up 12. As it stands, he's been making massive gains, but he hasn't been all too much of a noticeable driver. In all honesty, Dylan Poteet keeping his head down as per usual, but at these bigger tracks, Dylan doesn't have a track record of victory. And we've seen him before, tracks under a mile in length, and while he got close in season 16 Michigan, as it stands, he still hasn't found a victory at any of these bigger tracks. Dylan Poteet right now, still P4, and you're starting to see that double file battle behind him. Chad Winstead inside the top 5, and it will be a strong way to finish off the campaign. The driver, the number 34, of course, we've seen him there before. He moved on to number 60, and now he's number 1. Chad Winstead's come a long way since his very first victory in the Highline Racing League, and now, with season 19 on the horizon, maybe a chance to do what Alan Cummin is set to do tonight, and maybe becoming a 2-time champion is on the agenda in our next season. Winstead by no means has fallen out of his peak performance this season, 3rd in championship standings and only 47 points away from the title. However, Chad Winstead has done that only without a victory. 0 wins, 6 top 5s, and 8 top 10s. An interesting notion that we see of our top 3 drivers in the points, 2 of them are winless, and we have multiple drivers with more than 1 win. 2-time winner Tyler Hampton is currently 4th in the standings, tied for it. If, of course, he wins tonight, he'll probably move up to P3. If not, Chad Winstead should be able to maintain his 3rd place performance. Dylan Poteet, who finds himself, of course, the driver, the number 31, as it stands 8th in the standings. Dylan, he's got himself a victory this season, and he's always been good at those shorter circuits, but hasn't gotten it done at a track like this. That might change tonight. Overall, Dylan Poteet only 1 top 5, being that victory, and 6 top 10s, so this will be only Dylan's 2nd top 5 of the season, and maybe that's a little bit unexpected if you've been following this number 31 team. He's definitely been a quick candidate for victory a few times before, but execution is the difference between being a candidate for victory and being the driver, of course, who gets the job done. So now a few bubbles of drivers. They put themselves together. Tyler Hampton has definitely got himself back into a grip with the top 3. It looked like maybe he was going to be passed and ran over, but that's not the case. Maybe actually this is strategic. Tyler Hampton getting inside the draft and running at the pace of your 3rd place driver, Corey Blevins here, or rather, now your 2nd place driver. For this reason, he's going to be able to save a little bit of fuel, maybe save a little bit of tire, and as a result, with a little bit more equipment at the end of the race, he won't have to save all too much for your next pit cycle. The big question becomes, how long can these drivers go? The expectation, up to 50 laps. We've gone 17 so far in this stint, which means that we could see up to 25 more laps if all were to go completely perfect for a driver to get to the end of this race. If that is to happen, it's going to be a very tricky final stint, only consisting of maybe 25 laps on new rubber. So drivers are trying to figure out right now whether or not you go the route of splitting it down the middle, maybe coming down exactly at lap 50 or 55. That's an option. It's not likely to be a popular one. Additionally, you could go down at about lap 60 or lap 65. That might be a more popular option because it splits down the middle of both going in at the 50-50 point and going in at about halfway on this stint. That's a choice a driver could make as well. Finally, you have the choice to run it all the way. If Tyler Hampton right now is really serious about going the distance here, he might decide to stay in tow all throughout this run and save maybe up to 5 laps of fuel. That's not maybe the most expected outcome, but right now, definitely saving staying in the tow that number 24. Emma Ox in the chat room also rooting for the 27 of Adam Bozzi. Bozzi finding himself in what we call a hornet's nest here as he looks low on the number 48, and he's got himself dropping deep. There's Adam Bozzi, who's got himself right down low. Adam looking for P6 on this one, and it looks like so far he's been able to take the spot. Now up next target is going to be Dylan Poteet as he tries to get inside the top 5. Terry Brooks just behind as well. Westlake Royal Building Products. When we talk about this season, when we talk about this finale, can't of course do so without talking about Westlake, who have brought the support all season long to bring this season to you. The Highline Racing League has been supported for a long while by Terry Kenny Brooks, and they've done an amazing job in helping us out. ASC Services and Supply, not to mention you talk about what we've seen, the Texaco Truck Series, the Culture Designs Truck Series, and now Westlake Royal Building Products. And without their support, the Highline Racing League, we wouldn't be able to bring to you a full season of action-packed racing. Terry and Kenny Brooks, we thank them sincerely for their continued support for this league. And how about with the time we've got right now, you'll learn a little bit more about our friends at Westlake. 44 laps in, we'll return after a very brief message with continued coverage here of the Season 18 finale.
Boundless makes its presence felt. It will not be ignored. We're helping turn ideas into reality with a wealth of building products that take every architectural style to the next level. This is what it's like to imagine, build, and transform anything we want into exactly what we seek. This is what it means to be boundless.
Coming back now, lap number 45. Once again, I'd like to thank Westlake Royal Building Products for providing the support to bring the Highline Racing League to you. So far, Terry Brooks doing a good job. Unfortunately, Kenny Brooks is 38 laps down as a result of that last incident, or rather, the first incident on the day. The number 54. 40 laps down, and we'll have to wait until next season to see what's next for Kenny Brooks. However, Terry's been faring well enough to stay inside the top 10 fight, and now runs in P9, getting up there on former champion, two-time former champ, Scott Wheeler, back in the Xfinity car, the Dent Wizard number 97, overall solid. We haven't really seen the championship sort of potential from Scott Wheeler in the past few seasons. Not to say he has been a bad driver, but even victories have eluded the number 97. And maybe that's going to change next season, but we say that about so many drivers. Many of these drivers here deserve to go out there and find a victory, but it is a continued challenge. You can't expect to find a victory. You have to earn it in this league, and the 97, as much as everyone else knows, it's a challenge. And the parity of this league has been perhaps one of the most exciting things it has going. There is no other driver besides Scott Zellner who has more than 10 victories. And this league has been in existence for 14 years. Zellner is the only exception, and Zellner only has one championship to his name. Victories do not indicate that you win the championship outright, and championships don't always come from victories, and victories are quite hard to come by. You see where the difficulty comes in? Even if you're up there in front dominating a race, it doesn't mean the championship is automatically yours. And with this full-time points format, which means every race counts, a good race is of course a great thing, but it doesn't guarantee exactly where you need to be in, of course, the championship outlook. You don't think about the rounds of the playoffs. Every race is practically equally valued. And right now, Tyler Hampton is starting to get himself back together for what I think it's going to be a perfect opportunity to get forth for the race lead again. Right on board briefly here with Tyler Hampton. He is making gains, and looks like time might be in his favor. Tyler Hampton, as it stands, going to be 0.2 of a second off of the race lead. Minuscule difference, and it looked like he was nearly a half second back just 10 laps ago. Meanwhile, looks like Corey Blevins is the man in truth who has fallen behind, and 49 laps out of 100. It looks like Hampton has enough speed in him to stay with the leader and just run that pace. Not too concerned about leading every lap. So far, he has led the most laps, and it looks like right now, he just wants to lead the last lap. Trying to figure out how to get there, though, is a little bit more challenging when you let a driver ahead of you, but Dawson Buchanan perhaps understands that right now, number 5 knows exactly where he needs to be, and I'm pretty sure right now he's comfortable being right behind. Maybe more comfortable than Dawson Buchanan is being up and in front. That's where it becomes tricky. Buchanan is still looking for that first win, and Corey Blevins is up there on the podium again. You've got drivers who have now made it a very late season surge, trying to prove their worth, and Tyler Hampton trying to prove that history continues to repeat itself with a third consecutive finale victory. Coming across the line for 50 laps remaining, we've gotten beyond the halfway point in tonight's events. Chad Winstead runs 4th, and you got Adam Bozzi 5th. Jimmy McKee will be P6, and Terry Brooks occupies the 7th position with Dylan Poteet 8th, 9th in Scott Wheeler, and 10th in Scott Zellner. And talking about the 4 horsemen, 2 of which, Scott and Scott, Wheeler and Zellner. Right now, they're going to be alongside each other, fighting to get inside the top 10. So far, they're both in it. Wheeler is now going to be 8th, Zellner is 9th, Caleb Morrissey is going to be P19 as it stands. So Caleb's going to find himself a little bit further behind his other teammates. However, beforehand, he was up in front. Caleb is on an alternate strategy, so that's a part of the woes. He's on a 43-lap-old stint. Same goes for Alan Cumming. They're 17th and 18th right now on 14-lap older tires. So doing something different so far. Of course, it looks like they're going to be struggling, but it doesn't mean they can't come back. Matter of fact, they might come back a little bit quicker than we expect. It just comes down to whether or not, of course, these drivers stay green, or if we see yellow flag pit cycle rather than a green flag run. Now as Tyler Hampton gets through again, look at that. The number 5 is your leader once more, and it looks like even when saving his stuff, Tyler Hampton turned out to be the quickest in the stint. And now Tyler Hampton holds control once again. 48 laps remaining. Overall, your top 10 after the halfway point goes as follows. Hampton leads, Dawson Buchanan is 2nd, Corey Blevins is 3rd, Chad Winstead is P4 with Adam Bozzi running in 5th. Jimmy McKee holds 6th place, and Terry Brooks is then in 7th with 8th spot Scott Wheeler, 9th place being Scott Zellner, and Sebastian Miller concluding the top 10. 48 laps to go. And now, we've got ourselves a little bit of time to talk about iRacing once again. The world's leading online motorsport platform, iRacing.com, has provided realistic simulation experiences since 2008. And if you're not a member already, it's the perfect time to join. iRacing is offering a Black Friday special that's perhaps the best deal on the market now. 50% off for all new memberships and 25% off for all renewals and reactivations. Visit iRacing.com/Black Friday to figure out how to join the iRacing platform. We'd love to have you join the fun live on FTN. We'll be right back after a message from our friends at iRacing.com. You're watching the Highline Racing League on FTN, and we will return after this.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
45 laps remaining, and so far, Tyler Hampton is doing a wonderful job up and ahead. He let Dawson Buchanan and Corey Blevins take control for a few laps, but is once again taking away the field, and he's got himself a dominant lead once more. Waiting, biding his time, didn't seem to do all too much as the 24 now slows down big, and that did not look to be intentional. Corey Blevins instead passed by quick, and that's because Dylan Poteet is that much faster. And the cause of that speed? Well, it looks like some drivers are already coming in for brand new rubber. Poteet is one of them. Now on a 3-lap stint, Dylan decided to come in at about lap number 55. Starting to see drivers go for those alternate strategies. So with the 31 now on the way, same goes for Matt Muir. Matt right now runs in 17th on a 5-lap-old run. Alan Cumming, 2 laps old, and he's going to be on his new rubber for the first time since the beginning of this event. Alan now finding himself in 19th, and Caleb Morrissey is in 20th. 1-lap-old rubber for the driver, the number 6. New tires are going to be few and far between so far, but this is a sign the drivers have to come in pretty soon. Maybe that means that Tyler Hampton, your race leader, will come in the next few laps. No signals given by the race leaders on when they will decide to come down and in. Only signal given, unfortunately, is about signal loss. Kendall Kerr retiring for this event prematurely as a result of some internet connection failure, which means that the number 21 is out of this event. Ryan Potter, Kenny, of course, Robert Kenny, and Kenny Brooks, all of which going to join the number 21, and it looks like right now we have a total of about 20 drivers left on the circuit. Alan Cumming, Caleb Morrissey, the last two of which, while Tyler Hampton leads the way again to make it 42 laps remaining. Chad Winstead and Terry Brooks now going to be alongside each other. Chad on the bottom, Terry Brooks up top, and it looks like Terry's the man who's gaining. And how about Terry Brooks really coming out of nowhere tonight, and he's got himself once again down the back straightaway with a minor advantage over Chad Winstead. Now it looks like Terry's going to have himself P5. Adam Bozzi is going to be good for P4. Then you've got Dawson Buchanan and Corey Blevins. Maybe Terry Brooks has the pace in this long run to get up to both of which, but that makes me wonder, and I think it's going to make these drivers wonder, will it be better for the drivers who are better on the long run to go all the way by going down to pit road early? Would that be beneficial, or should they wait it out and try to go with everyone else? Right now for Terry Brooks, he's looking for another pass, and as we take a ride on board, he might just have it. Terry Brooks now going to enter the top 5 and go beyond that point. P4 for Brooks as you ride on board, and you can see patient and all things considered, he's kept the wheel rather steady. Number 21 machine not going to be in the picture any longer, but Adam Bozzi's 27 has just been moved past. 40 laps to go now. Terry Brooks is going to be inside the 4th spot, and the podium might now be up for grabs. Dawson Buchanan going to be side by side here with Corey Blevins, and as they go neck and neck across the stripe once again, here comes Blevins, and he's got himself through once more. Now 39 laps to go. Blevins barely advantageous, and this battle side by side not going to help out with keeping these two drivers in the podium. If Terry Brooks is quicker for the last few laps, he definitely looks like he's had the better speed. And so far, it looks like he's going to get even closer. Just because of that side-by-side racing, now Buchanan's going to find himself behind, and Terry Brooks has a shot. As the 24 of Corey Blevins gets away for overall second, Brooks is inside the podium for the first time tonight. Now, more drivers decide to come down and in. Scott Zellner making his way through, bringing Scott Wheeler and Dawson Buchanan after a 39-lap run. Drivers coming in now at lap number 63, and it looks like a quick move in for the number 4, then the 2 of Zellner, and you got that 97 of Scott Wheeler making his way in. 38 laps to go. All these drivers coming together include race leader Tyler Hampton. So Hampton going to make it official, coming in after 39 laps himself. Major move there for the number 5. And as such, Tyler Hampton goes through. Corey Blevins and now Terry Brooks looking alongside each other. Terry getting the race lead. Now it'll be Corey Blevins right behind. For the first time tonight, the number 23 is up and ahead, and as he comes across the stripe, it looks like Brooks has the advantage. Question becomes now, when is the right time to head down to pit road for the drivers that still remain on track? Hampton going down and in now is going to come off of pit road, and he will be put most likely 1 lap down. After a 44-second pit stop, Hampton is now going to find himself alone on the back straightaway. Then you see Terry Brooks, and it looks like Tyler Hampton, even though he's going to take a little bit more time than he would have liked on pit road, will still be on the lead lap when the other drivers come by. And now Corey Blevins signaling down and in, looking to the inside, the number 24 coming in from second on the track. And will Corey decide to bring someone with him? Yes, Adam Bozzi goes through. 2 drivers, not too many, but we do now see more drivers slowly but surely filing in. Now Terry Brooks going to see these drivers on new rubber making it by so quickly. Scott's down, they're going to fly through. Chad Winstead going to be up next, and this is what happens when drivers get that new tire. Take a look on board right now at Chad Winstead and see how quickly he's going to come up now on Scott Zellner and company, and namely, he'll get by Terry Brooks like it's nothing. And now as the number 1 goes by, you notice the 23 goes in. Terry Brooks to pit road this time through with 36 laps to go. This promotes Lucas Lodato to the race lead. Lucas looking for win number 2 on the season. Almost got it done in Phoenix, but Connor Holden held on to the race victory after final official reviews. The driver of the number 7, Lucas Lodato, well, we haven't seen all too much of him tonight, but the highs and lows for Lucas, well, they've been quite extreme. Started tonight in 18th as low as 19th, and now up to the race lead for the very first time. Lucas Lodato, at least he's going to bring home those extra lap lead bonus points if there's any solace in this event. But all things considered, Lodato coming off of his rookie campaign with 2 victories, maybe perhaps a little bit of a sophomore slump with only 1. Not to say it was a bad season, I mean, he was only a lap away perhaps from that second victory, but I think Lodato has his sights set on maybe becoming more of a prominent championship contender than a driver who competes for a win or 2 at most. 34 laps remaining. Lodato going to decide to stay out for a 44th lap here, so maybe about 5 more laps in the tank at the very most from here. He, Tyler Snyder, and Jimmy McKee are the last drivers out. Jimmy getting up to P3 now, and keep in mind with Alan Cummins still racing and not at this event, it means that Alan Cummins has effectively locked up the championship. Here comes down the number 48 machine. Alan Cummins makes his way in a little bit earlier than his teammate. Jimmy McKee, at long last, decides to drop down and through. Here comes the 48, and that leaves only 2. Lucas Lodato and Tyler Snyder, the final 2 left. 33 laps remaining. Lodato and Snyder right now lead by about 7 seconds over Jason Harris. Jason has also decided to stay out on the circuit, but to lesser effect. Matt Muir is going to be the net race leader on a 17-lap run. Very interesting to see that number 70 is going to hang tough. And right now, it looks like he's still got a few seconds ahead of someone like Dylan Poteet. Watch out, though, for Tyler Hampton. Hampton is 5 seconds back right now on Jason Harris and Matt Muir. When he gets there, he'll be the overall race lead, no doubt. Now Tyler Snyder goes in, and with them, Jason Harris decides to drop through as well. The only driver still waiting is the number 7 of Lucas Lodato, and Lucas will be the only holdout on this stint. At long last, Lodato decides to drop in. 69 laps in, a nice run for Lucas to get up to the race lead, but now he's got to figure things out from here. What is it going to take to go from, of course, where he is leading, to maybe a solid top 10 finish? The lead is very unlikely, of course, with how long he held out, but Lodato now knows what it's like up in front. Had that clean air, maybe a chance to take that and learn from it as Matt Muir comes across the line. Matt is your overall race leader based on coming down to pit road early about 18 laps ago. Then you got Dylan Poteet, which is maybe about a 1.5-second gap between he and the number 31, Tyler Hampton, in that number 5. And you would see here, Tyler's got himself a good shot to just keep on clawing down that gap. 3.41 seconds as it stands between Matt Muir and Tyler Hampton, and that gap has remained especially consistent in the last few laps. He would have to gain about 1/10 of a second each and every lap to conceivably make it in within about 31 laps, but Tyler's even faster. He's making up about 1/2 a second each and every time by. There's a big question, of course, about whether or not Hampton will get there quicker than that, but I don't think there's any question about whether or not Tyler Hampton will get there. Right now, it's especially likely that that number 5 machine does exactly what he needs to do within 5 laps. Zellner going to be P4, Sebastian Miller is going to be in 5th, and Scott Wheeler now going to be 6th and caught 3 wide with Winstead, Miller, Wheeler, and Buchanan all around one another, and it looks like the Hornets' Nest is back in action. So Sebastian Miller getting himself up inside the top 5. It's taken him a long while, but the 83 looks to have himself in good spirits. Scott Zellner, more of the same. Zellner right now might not be close to Tyler Hampton, but if he is to hang on, he'd be next second place. And to finish off the season with a victory and a second place finish would be a huge accomplishment for the number 2. And if there is to be a yellow flag by any means, Scott might be the best placed driver of all, save for, of course, the number 5, Tyler Hampton. So a chance for win number 20 still might be up there in the air, and while it isn't all too likely, second place, that's about the second best spot you can start in for a green-white checkered finish or anything of that sort. Tyler Hampton, though, is now less than a second away from the overall race lead. Matt Muir is going to look behind, but I think now the number 70 knows there's no stopping Tyler Hampton. Jason Harris coming up at the back end of both drivers here. Harris does have new rubber, so he'll be quicker, at least temporarily, than both drivers in this mix. This is going to be the pass for the race lead and perhaps the final of the night. The number 5 looks low. Jason Harris looks lower, and now Hampton decides to follow the number 88. And with that, Tyler Hampton is back in front once again, and Matt Muir concedes. Matt goes down to pit road once again and decides to bow down and in, and bringing with them Dylan Poteet. Both drivers come together, and now Matt Muir's got himself down to pit road. Leader, Tyler Hampton. New race leader, of course. Yes, but he's been here many a time before, and with 27 laps to go, Tyler's got a chance to make his own slice of history, a 3-time season finale winner. Nobody quite like Tyler Hampton when it comes down to finishing a season strong, and right now, 4.4 seconds back, Scott Zellner still in hopes of getting that 20th victory tonight. He's got himself P2 while the rest of the field stays right behind him, and they are charging hard. Up top, there goes Chad Winstead. It looks like right now the number 1 machine's got the pace to go for the pass. Up top, number 1's got it. And that's going to be Chad Winstead making the move for second. Scott Zellner now going to be in third, so maybe tonight won't be the night even if he gets up there, Scott Zellner, for the victory. But Chad Winstead looking rather aggressive right now. 26 laps to go. Now, I think you got to wonder, is it the right time to go out there and be fully aggressive? We still have a quarter of the race remaining. Granted, we've gotten through 3/4 of the race. It depends on which way you look at it. The final stretch is here, but it's not a short stretch by any means. It's 50 miles of racing, and presumably we're going to see most of it run under green flag conditions, which means if you push and you burn up the tire, you are absolutely going to feel it. Talking about tonight's track conditions, since we haven't all too much, they're pretty mild. Admittedly, the track temperature is coming in at 88 degrees Fahrenheit, and the ambient temperature at 74. Winds are going to be southwest bound at about 11 miles an hour, and it's going to be a 3-wide fight between Dawson Buchanan, Seb Miller, and Adam Bozzi, for a brief moment anyway. If these tires get burnt out, they don't come back, and when the sun is shining down on the circuit, it becomes infinitely harder for things to rectify themselves. There were a little bit of cloudier conditions about half an hour ago, but now, well, Tyler Hampton seems to thrive in the sunshine. The clouds are actually where he took a little bit of a step back, and maybe those conditions don't impact the driver directly, but it all comes down to whether or not the track plays in the driver's favor. Tonight, it mostly has anyway, but you have to be conservative with your tire. These drivers have decided not to use their brakes up for the most part. Telemetry estimates show it's all about letting off and letting the car do most of the work. With 23 laps remaining, well, Tyler Hampton has done just that perfectly, and it looks like right now Alan Cummins has gotten back up to 15th, only 2 spots behind Jimmy McKee, and while the alternate strategy might not be the most successful today, his season has been the most successful of all. 23 laps to go to finish up the year here in the Highline Racing League, and we'd once again like to thank our friends at TrackCams22.com, providing high-quality sim racing performance products for dedicated sim racers who deserve nothing but the best. Visit TrackCams22.com for additional information. Tyler Hampton right now leading the way, and he gets to see the track with the best view in the house. Let's get some good views ourselves here live on FTN with our friends at TrackCams22.com. Let's crank it up for the final time this season here in California. Tyler Hampton remains dominant with 16 laps to go. When he crosses the line next time through, 15 laps left. As it stands, we've gotten to the point where this race is almost over. It's been Overall, Tyler Hampton's race to win, and at this point, it's become his race to lose. It's gone back and forth. The driver, the number 5, has been able to dominate this race even when he's not leading, keeping this entire race in check. As it stands, the driver of the number 27, Adam Bozzi, running in 3rd, Chad Winstead running up to P1, and Ty Smith in the chat room. DJ Stagner not with us. He's a champion in this league, and it looks like a champion outside of the sim. Engaged this week to his girlfriend, Ariel. Wonderful news for Stagner. It's been great to see him on the racetrack, but even better to hear that news. Big shout out to our friend DJ Stagner, who's shown so much success on the track, and it looks like things are going great outside the sim. Wonderful news. Ty, thank you for sharing it. And a little bit more discussion in the chat room as we talk about Auto Club and the difference between the top side and the low side. And we noted early the bottom looked to be preferable to start. That has not changed at all. Some drivers like Adam Bozzi and Corey Blevins are trying to make it work, but it really has not been an easy effort tonight. As it stands, some big changes, of course, when it comes to the Xfinity Series. The Saturday Night Thunder group were talking about changing their championship race as a result, and it looks like maybe more of that same effect coming in tonight. 14 laps to go, and you're starting to see some drivers move up to the top, but it almost looks like they're doing so just by force. That's going to be another move made there for Adam Bozzi. This is the battle for 2nd place, and it looks like Tyler Hampton has made tonight a best of the rest events. Adam Bozzi up to P2, and you got there Corey Blevins 3rd. Scott Zellner now going to dive to the inside, and as the number 2 makes that move, it looks like Zellner's not done fighting for the podium. Adam Bozzi going to make those moves to get up to 2nd, but it looks like the Flying Scotsman, Zellner and Wheeler alike, are still in the mix for a top 5. Scott Zellner is 7th, Dawson Buchanan and Scott Zellner, of course, aforementioned drivers, they stand in his way, but Wheeler does still have a chance. Zellner, of course, is right now in the thick of the battle, and if he gets by that number 24, there's certainly still a chance for Zellner to hang on for at least a top 3 finish. 13 laps to go, and it looks like still Scott Zellner is just behind. Sebastian Miller running pretty solid here. He got inside the top 5 briefly, but it looks like all things considered, the number 83 will end the night with a top 10 performance. Not a full-time candidate this year for Rookie of the Year or anything of the like, but Sebastian Miller showing some flashes of brilliance perhaps in the Highline Racing League. Started the season wonderful. I mean, 2 back-to-back podium finishes and looked to be a top 5 machine to kick it off alongside his teammate and DJ Stagner, but overall just hasn't shown up for the majority of the season, which of course there are things outside the sim, but there's a lot of missing potential, which doesn't mean that he has been involved in many wrecks or anything of that sort. But if we see more of Sebastian Miller, I am of the belief we're going to see even better from Sebastian Miller. Coming back tonight after several weeks away, more than a month away, of a matter of fact, and having this strong of a performance is a testament to the skill that is there for the driver of the number 83. Got Scott Wheeler right there looking down and low. Couldn't quite make anything happen. You got Scott Wheeler, of course, now just behind Terry Brooks as well. Brooks has been having a solid night and almost up there contending for the race win. The question becomes, of course, whether or not that number 23 can make up 6 spots in 11 laps. Admittedly, quite unlikely. But Terry Brooks got there, led laps, and looks to be due for perhaps a top 5 finish. Terry Brooks has been a driver oh so close to victory for several seasons, and it feels like this is something we say about many drivers. Corey Blevins, we've spoken of many a time before. He does have a win to his name. Terry Brooks has still not gotten there. Gotten remarkably close. You might remember when we went to Kern County, it was between him and Chad Winstead, and when Winstead won that race, it was the catalyst for what eventually became a championship. Terry Brooks was oh so close. He finished in 2nd that night. Brooks has been able to make it through for top 10 and top 5 finishes countless times, and the 23 team proves to be strong, especially at these more unique circuits where you can't really practice to perfection how you're going to go about it. But it looks like victory will still elude this team if, of course, we stay green for the final 10 laps. Now Adam Bozzi had a chance on number 24, Corey Blevins couldn't quite make it work out, but ends up going on the high side, and there goes Blevins once again. Corey going to score 3rd with that maneuver, and Chad Winstead stays in P2. 9 laps remaining now, and Tyler Hampton still seeing the time count down. Hampton is far and away ahead. 4 seconds now. It's the biggest lead that Tyler's had all night long, and looks like it's only growing stronger. For Chad Winstead, this is the biggest lead he's had for second place all night long. It's only about 0.4 of a second. Nevertheless, it looks to be strong enough right now where he's controlling this second pack, and then you've got Group 3, which has Terry Brooks, Buchanan, a little bit further back, Sebastian Miller, and Scott Miller, all of which coming together right now, and it looks like they've got themselves in a pretty good position to ride out till the very end. Alan Cumming is back in 19th. Admittedly, this race has not turned out his way, but this season is still one to remember for the number 8. Only 8 laps away until the championship is officially decided. And for Cumming, it comes down to one thing: just finishing. 2 wins, 7 top 5s to this point, and 10 top 10s. Alan Cumming, he has been far and away the best driver this season. The victories, the consistency, getting away from incident all throughout the campaign. He's been the top candidate for the championship, and now it just comes down to making it to the end. And the checkered flag draws nearer and nearer on 2024. It will be a shame, of course, if he finishes this race 1 lap down, but it really wouldn't mean anything else, because Tyler Hampton here is looking for the victory, and Cumming just wants to get the job done for the championship. 7 laps remain. Winstead second, Blevins third, Adam Bozzi fourth, Scott Zellner P5. Now it's all about what's happening behind, and you can see it's rather tight. Even if Tyler Hampton's gotten away, everyone's fighting for their final share of the points picture. Chad Winstead is trying to get himself up to second in the championship. If he finishes second tonight, relative to where Jimmy McKee is, we might see Winstead get up to P2 in the points. It has not been an easy fight for Chad Winstead, and both McKee and Winstead have had to fight it without a race victory, but now looks like the number 1 is exactly where he needs to be. Just a few points is the gap. It's only 12 points between Jimmy McKee and Chad Winstead. And with the way that Chad Winstead is further up and ahead now, it looks like he might be able to seal the deal and take P2 in the standings. Might not be the closest fights between he and Alan Cumming, but Chad Winstead in the late going definitely turned on the jets. 5 laps to go. He just wants to stay ahead now of Corey Blevins. Blevins looking for his second consecutive podium, and talk about coming alive in the late going. Blevins back-to-back top 3s, a top 5 qualifying run in Bristol, and the pace has been there ever since. It looks like right now Blevins might be one of those up-and-coming drivers to look out for in season 19. If we stay with the Xfinity cars and they stay the same, we might be seeing this number 24 on a more regular basis. Took a long while to get to this point of being a consistent race-winning contender, but Corey's here, and I don't think he wants to leave. I don't think he'll ever want to leave. 4 laps to go. He's gotten the taste, and now victory, if he gets there again, it couldn't be any sweeter. Scott Zellner falls back to 5th, and unfortunately, when we talk about all the successes and great moments for these other drivers, tonight might be a little bit of a low point for the driver, the number 22, or rather, the number 2. He was running in second. That's not the case any longer. And it looks like right now for Zellner, win number 20, it will elude him this season. He will have to sit on number 19. It's been an amazing campaign, though. A 2-time winner this season, and he is still extending the record nobody else could possibly hold. The all-time winningest driver by a landslide in this field. More than 10 wins up on the next driver in Jackson Hartman, and talking about adding to his own record book, next year is due to be more of the same. Chad Winstead just ahead of him right now, as is Blevins and company. The battle for the podium, it's going to stay for a long while here, just as you see it. I think until the checkered flag, we'll see them fight, but there's no doubt in my mind now we've got 2 things all but guaranteed: your race winner and your champion. And if Tyler Hampton is so graceful, or if he just doesn't get up to him, we'll see your champion do 1 more lap around the field after our race winner comes across the line. 2 laps to go for Tyler Hampton. When he burst onto the scene, kicking his campaign off in the latter stages of 2023, almost a year ago to the day as a matter of fact, Tyler Hampton made his very first start. It was the Homestead Miami Speedway, it was season 16, and it was the season finale. In season 17, he was able to win the finale as well, and we didn't know whether or not he'd be able to make it coincidence or if he'd make it a continuing pattern. Tonight, Tyler Hampton has proven again that he's got what it takes to become a champion. This will be his third victory of the season, the most of any driver on the trail. Scott Zellner, Hampton, and Kunman came in tied, and it looks like now with 1 lap to go, Tyler Hampton will go right by the number 8 for his third victory of the campaign. 1 lap to go. Alan Kunman is going to back it down and let the number 5 go by. For Hampton, it will be his third straight championship finale victory, perhaps a title nobody else could hold, and Tyler Hampton has proven to do the unthinkable before, and he will do so once again. Last lap coming through turns 3 and 4 to finish off this year. Hampton, he's got it in his hand, and a dominant victory will go to the number 5. Checkered flag will fall here in Auto Club, and Tyler Hampton will collect his third victory of the season. Checkered flag for Hampton, and right behind him, the number 8, Alan Kunman, going around one final time. He's got himself a championship locked up. Cooling it down, shifting his gears, Kunman has done it. And as Jimmy McKee comes across the stripe, it is official. Alan Kunman is a 2-time champion. Your 2-time race winner this season collects the season 18 title. Alan Kunman is the champion of the Westlake Premier Series for the second time in his Highline Racing League career. Hampton wins the race, Kunman wins the championship, and the number 8 brings Blacktop Racing to its second championship in 4 seasons. And who else but the man who brought them their first championship in this 4-season span to do it once again. Alan Kunman, title winner for the second time in his career. It came down to consistency and performance. His championship rivals couldn't find a victory lane. He found it twice. Tyler Hampton, of course, found it 3 times, but nobody could match the performance of this number 8 as he celebrates his second career title. Kunman gonna park it now on the start-finish line, and it looks like it's about time to finish off by burning down the wall. And to victory circle, Alan Kunman goes again. Checkered flag is out for the number 8. He's a champion once more. Tyler Hampton gets the job done for victory tonight. Let's run through your race results, and then of course we'll speak to your top 3 drivers and your champion to finish off the year. Tyler Hampton, Chad Winstead, and Corey Blevins make up the podium tonight. Then you got Terry Brooks in 4th, Adam Bozzi P5, and Scott Zellner then in 6th. 7th place is going to be Sebastian Miller with 8th spot, then going to Dawson Buchanan, and Scott Wheeler will be 9th with Lucas Lodato in 10th. 11th place on the rundown, you'll see immediately after Austin Bloom. Jimmy McKee is going to be 12th, and Colton Gardner will come home 13th with Tyler Snyder P14, Matt Muir 15th, and Caleb Morrissey 16th. Dylan Potey, P17, and Jason Harris, 18th, with Alan Cunman, 19th, and Matthew Rodriguez there in 20th. 21st is Ryan Potter, Kendall Kerr is 22nd, and Kenny Brooks is 23rd, with Robert Kenny the 24th and final driver on the day here in Auto Club. And let's first and foremost talk to your top three drivers. Getting your race winner in first, Tyler Hampton has been in this position now 3 times in his Highline Racing League career, and somehow in all 3 of them, he's done the exact same thing with a different car and a different track most every time. Another championship finale and another victory. The winningest driver on the season joins us in our final victory lane talk. Tyler Hampton, you win here on Auto Club, and you won another championship finale and did so again in dominating fashion.
Yeah, it felt good to finally have a complete race. I think that was the first pole that I've had in this league. So to get the pole and the most laps led and to finish it off there feels pretty good.
And you mentioned it starting up in front tonight, and it looks like the pace was all yours. You led the majority of the race, and I mean, we can talk about the numbers all day long. Let's start there. When it comes down to laps led, 68 of 100. So the majority by a firm margin. Some green flag strategy in between means, of course, you can't lead them all, but you seem to have the fastest car all night.
Yeah, I mean, when you start up front, it does make it a little bit easier. And on the starts, I was able to get out in front, and the second through, I mean, like 10th, 12th, you can throw a blanket on them. They was all racing pretty hard, so I knew I just needed to be consistent and hit my marks every lap. And one point in time, Dawson and Corey got by me there, and I just kind of figured I was pushing a little too hard, and I let them race it out a little bit and wear their stuff out, and then pick the pace back up and try to get them again, which I did. And seemed like that was by the time we was going in for our last pit stop, and after that was able just to kind of check out and run my own race.
And it looks like everything from where, of course, went exactly your way. Not much to talk about when it comes to this specific performance. You simply put, dominated in the field tonight. So now we look forward again, season 19, and you end another season on top of the order. Winningest driver this season, and overall, it looks like as the final points come out here, you might as well put yourself inside the top 5 in the championship standings. That is yet to be confirmed, however, figuring out whether or not that will officially be the case. 4th coming in, I think you're going to, of course, make some gains. Nevertheless, great season. I think you got your eyes set, of course, on chasing a championship next.
Yeah, I just got to clean up some mistakes, just self-inflicting wounds that seems to turn a 5th or 10th place finish, top 10 into 15th or worse. Just stupid stuff that I'm doing on my own, and mostly it's all pit road, either getting in too fast or sliding through my pit box. It seems like pit road is just my kryptonite for whatever reason. But yeah, we'll see if we can clean that up for next year and see what we can do.
And it's official based on our final championship reading. 2nd in the championship standings with this victory, Tyler. Of course, P1 on the day. Any final shout-outs or comments you'd like to give out?
Yeah, thanks to you, David, and everything you do for the broadcast, and Adam, and everybody that has their hand in this league. Couldn't do it without those guys, and it's just glad to be a part of it, and can't wait for next season to start.
And now looking forward to what's next to come. Finishing off 2024 as you did the year before with the victory. Tyler Hampton dominating and winning here in Auto Club. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you, David.
But Tyler Hampton on the move. Up next, your 2nd place finisher, Chad Winstead. Defending champion, overall going to come away with a very solid season, a podium finish to end it off, and as such, with this top 3, of course, in the bag, P4 in the championship standings, going with. Strong race and almost getting yourself up there. Of course, seemed like Tyler ran away, but you got up front on everyone else, Chad. How's it feel to get this podium to end the season?
Oh, it feels good. Kind of a poor qualifying effort all season long, it felt like, and especially tonight. So I was just happy to get up there and battle for a podium again. It was a long, tough season this time around, and congrats to Alan on the championship. Wish I could have had something for the 5 car in this race, though, to finish off the year strong.
And finishing out looking for that first victory tonight, I'm sure that was the biggest goal of all. Talking about your race, though, when the highs and lows come down to it, you made gains. Starting in 9th tonight, so still within the top 10, but had to carve your way through into a very intense fight where it was close all throughout, even with the green flag cycle.
Yeah, it was an interesting race. It was a little bit difficult to pass. I know I was blocking, Corey there at the end. He was a little bit faster that run. The run before that, I was a little bit faster than him and couldn't get around him and some other cars. And it was just a tough race all around. With the tire wear, car gets really tight, starts plowing, and I usually like cars that are a little bit on the loose side. And just couldn't quite get there. 5 was just too fast tonight. I feel like I've said that a lot this year, where I've gotten several second place finishes, third place finishes, and just don't have quite enough to get up there and compete.
And consistency has been the key of this number 1 team. We've seen it all throughout in this title defense effort. Top 5 in the point standings, but one thing that is, unfortunately, a little bit different from this season last, looking for the victory, didn't come around this time by. Of course, a champion this year in season 17. Now, what's up next, of course, is season 19. How do you feel about your chances to come back and maybe take from this season and improve on the next?
Well, if I can just model the consistency but get a win or two here and there, I feel like I'll be in really good shape. I feel like this season just a couple of them slipped away, whether it was getting involved in a incident or making the wrong pit call strategies, just whatever it may be, just didn't quite fall my way this season. But whatever car we're in next season, whatever tracks we run at, I'm just going to aim to get these consistent top 3, top 5 finishes and hope for the best. We've got a lot of talent in this league. Especially this season, and hopefully everybody sticks around for next. It should be a good time, and hopefully we put on a good show.
And looking forward to seeing more of that. Consistency has been key, and Chad Winstead finishes off the season with a P2 finish. Any final comments or shout-outs you'd like to give?
Shout out to you, David, for the broadcast all year, and my teammate Adam Bossy, and everybody in the admin side of the Highline Racing League, and appreciate all that you do. I know it was a rough season at times on the admin side, and we've powered through, and it's such a fun league, such a competitive league, and I'm looking forward to many more seasons.
Well, checkered flag flies on 2024, and season 17 champ gets the job done for a final podium on the year. Chad Winstead, thank you again for your time.
Thank you. We'll see you next season.
And talking about some improvements, Corey Blevins, what a way to end this year. 2 consecutive podium finishes for the 24 crew and your best 2 race string, I believe, in your Highline Racing League career to come back and come away with a 3rd place run again back in the top 3.
Yeah, that's really good. I was quite surprised. I ain't not gonna lie there. I thought it maybe, would have a top 10 run, but I didn't think it would be that good, quite honestly. So to finish 3rd for a 2nd week in a row, that's a really good momentum shift from where I was for sure.
And making these major strides and pace in the last half of the season, and it all came out tonight. You were in the thick of it, fighting since, of course, the start of the race. You started inside the top 10, but you quickly moved inside the top 5. Was there anything in particular you think that clicked about this track? We've been here before, but it seems like tonight was a major improvement from any prior attempt you've made.
Yeah, it could just be the setup that's, in it right now. I know they did some changes a couple months ago, so it could have something to do with it. They started running the outside line there, and I kind of switched to that. When I had done that in the past, it kind of wore the tires out more. So thankfully, it didn't, wear them out as much. I was able to run up there a little bit more than I did previous times we've been to the track. So.
And coming on very strong at the end of this campaign, 2 straight top 5s. Tonight, it all came down to green flag racing once again. Green flag tire strategy, very few cautions in between, and conditions seem to be pretty fair, so the only difference might have just been that tire fall off. How was it for you managing tires here in Auto Club? A lot of drivers saying definitely a different feeling track compared to before.
Yeah, it was, yeah, it would just, it would gradually fall off. It didn't seem to matter what run, lane that you kind of ran in 3 and 4. Kind of mattered in 1 and 2 a little bit more, just because it set you up for 3 and 4. But I was running the high lane there towards the end of the race, in 1 and 2. Just because the tires were wearing out a little bit more. You really couldn't, hold your line on the bottom, and the other car would pass you on the outside. So, yeah, the outside was definitely, I think, the preferred lane as we got further into a run for sure, especially in 1 and 2.
And it looks like taking that information and you took it to heart to make those major gains to make it up to the podium again. Your strongest 2 runs of the season coming all the way at the very end. And if anything, that's a pretty good sign of maybe some momentum for season 19. You said it last week specifically, you feel like this is the pace you should be bringing week in, week out. You think now you can make those steps to really close the gap between you and your competitors?
Yeah, finishing, third 2 weeks in a row, it's definitely a good sign for sure. I feel like I could have, even hung with Tyler, had I pitted a couple laps earlier than him. You never know. um, what may have happened, even if I would have pitted a lap earlier, because there was, a big time difference there. And then after a few laps, it kind of, leveled off. So, there's always that chance. All it takes is sometimes a better, pit entry, a better pit stop, getting in and out of the pits. Tyler may have done that better. And maybe that's something I look at for next season as well, is making sure that I get everything I can, because that matters a lot in these races.
And all about maximizing opportunity. And a great way to end the season here, Corey Blevins, 2 consecutive podium finishes for the 24 crew. Any final comments you'd like to give to wrap up the year?
Yeah, congrats to Tyler on the win, and congrats to Alan on the championship this season for sure.
Corey Blevins, great way to finish out your own season. 3rd place here on Auto Club and matching your best finish on the season. Thank you again for your time.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
And with Corey Blevins on the move, now we, of course, have our focus on the best of the best. The number 8, Alan Cunman, the driver who has been with us all season and has been on top all season. 2 victories. Now a total of 8 top 5s and 11 top 10s. And joining me in the broadcast booth as we commemorate our champion who has been officially crowned, Adam Bozzi will do the honors as we bring in the number 8 of Alan Cunman and crown ourselves a Highline Racing League champion for season 18. Adam, take it away.
Yeah, on behalf of everybody, owners, admins, and all the drivers here at the Highline Racing League, on behalf of our sponsor, Westlake Building Products, and our other sponsor, Admin Box, we're proud to say that Alan Cunman, driver of the number 8 car, is officially season 18's champion. It was a hell of a drive you put on. I believe it was 2 wins all season long and double-digit top 10s to carry you there. So congratulations, and look forward to seeing you defend that second championship here in 2025.
Thank you, sir. It was a great season. I think one of the best seasons we've had in a long time, at least. Just happy. This championships. It seems to me like it was a lot harder to win than that first one.
And a completely different way to win it. You talk about how different this season was from season 15, full season. Every race mattered, and even though you had yourself a big advantage coming in tonight, each and every race made such a big impact on how your season went. Those 2 victories, of course, I think they made all the difference, and you were able to get up there so many more times than almost every other driver, and consistency counted, but you also were able to make those victories happen when they were necessary.
Yeah, it's so crazy. Every season that we've run this car, I've just had the worst luck. Never won a race in this car in this league, and then this season get 1, and then to get 2 in a row, it meant a lot to me for sure. I think I don't know, I just took on to this car this season, and just once I knew that it was looking like I had a good shot, I tried to keep Jimmy mainly around me in every race.
And it came down to, as you mentioned, you, Jimmy McKee, Blacktop Racing teammates, bringing this championship not only to yourself, but back to the team for the second time in the last 4 seasons. And you two, 1-2 finish as it was in season 15. It looks like you and Jimmy McKee, when we talk about the past 2 years of Highline Racing League, have simply put been the strongest drivers when you look at the entire period.
Yeah, we've got a lot of talented guys in here, and it's so hard to win. Everybody's just so tight. Lap times are always tight. Qualifying's always tight. So I I'm just happy to be able to get a second one, just because of the fact that it's so hard. I wish Jimmy hadn't got his penalty a few weeks ago, because I was looking forward to battling it out again with my teammate, same teammate from last time. But I didn't look at it any different. All the races after that, I had the same plan that I had been that I had in mind before that penalty, which was just to keep him in my sight throughout each race, and try to finish near or around him, just so that I could balance out keeping the lead, keeping a good points cushion.
And it looks like a few different strategies this season. You mentioned that, and we also noticed all throughout the year, and this is something that did get you one of those crucial victories. You did things different. You looked at pit stop strategy in a different way. You looked at those longer runs in a different way, breaking stuff up, unlike your teammates and unlike all your other competitors. And that's something that definitely was a tool that got you to this point for another championship. So you've finally shaken the curse. You've finally gotten past the bug of just not winning with this car. Now the question becomes, what can you do to bring that maybe to season 19 and go after a few more checkered flags?
I don't know. Maybe I need to get on here more often or something. Have more track time. I don't know if we can maybe go into next season with the same mindset we did this season. I remember I told you after Chicago that I came into the season with a mindset of just going off strategy. I think I did that 5 races out of the season, and it worked out that one time. I don't think it was any different at Iowa, but I don't know. Maybe if go into next season with that same kind of plan, maybe we can rack up a couple more and go defend this championship at least.
And now looking for what could be 3 championships for the driver, the number 8, Alan Cumming. 3 laps led on the day and a championship won here for season 18. As we wrap up the year and move on towards season 19, any final comments you'd like to give out? Any last messages for the audience and all those here in the Highline Racing League?
Yeah, I've got a few if you got a moment. First, I want to thank everybody for coming back each season. We wouldn't have these 20 plus car fields without everybody showing up. Terry Brooks and Westlake Royal Building Products for sponsoring the season again. They were a big help. Scott Puckett, SP Designs, for giving me this gorgeous paint scheme that I ran majority of the season. I think there was only one race I didn't run it. That's because it wasn't finished yet. But I love it. I think it brought me some good luck this year. Of course, Adam. A lot goes on behind the scenes that not a lot of people know about, except for a select few. I really appreciate everything he's done the last couple of seasons for us. With a couple guys having to step out just due to personal time issues and stuff like that. Um, as far as the championship, the 2 races I really look back is Bristol and Talladega. Dega got caught up in that last lap wreck, and I just knew I had to grab a gear and get going and finish and salvage what points I could. And then Bristol got caught up in their early wreck. I think I fell back to like 18th or something like that. Almost went a lap down twice. Caught a lucky break with a couple cautions there. Ended up finishing 10th. Salvaged some more points there. So if anybody thinks that just because you get wrecked out early, just give up. Don't. because those points right there helped me for sure. Um, and then one more thing is pretty cool stat. Might not mean much to anybody else in here. I think it's pretty cool though. I don't think we'll ever go back to the playoff format, but as of right now, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but as of right now, I'm the only person in this league who's won 2 different championship formats. So I think that's pretty cool myself. Um, I'd also like to congratulate all the winners we had this season. You, of course, for putting this broadcast on. Uh, don't know if we'll be back next season, if we'll have another season. Hope we do. But if we do, we will see y'all next year.
And Alan Cumming, you mentioned it, able to not only win in the playoff format, but do it all the way from flag to flag in Season 18. Thank you again for your time, and congratulations on your championship to end the year.
Thanks, David.
And with Alan Cumming on the way, still with us here in the broadcast booth, admittedly quiet, is Adam Bozzi. And as we look to the end of Season 18 and now 2025 and whatever's left, of course, whatever's next, and Season 19 is on the way, I'd like to ask you, of course, for your final comments as we, of course, wrap things up for the night.
Yeah, first and foremost, thank you and everybody involved with FTN on putting together a phenomenal year of broadcasting the Highline Racing League, both in Season 17 and in Season 18. We really do appreciate it, and we love putting on a great show week in and week out for all these dedicated fans that come watch us and have a good time. And we're glad we can give you something to disconnect from real life from for a little bit. So I think moving into next year, we're more than happy to have you guys back. I'm sure we'll be in discussions. But I think the biggest thing is you might see some changes. I think the randomizer is here to stay, but you might see us in some different cars. You might see some other championship implications coming out of the woodwork, and some different track pools for us to go race at and keep it entertaining. So we'll be more than happy to keep sharing that. You'll get announcements on the Highline Twitter page if you follow us at HLRL_iRacing. We'll try to make those announcements there so you guys can follow along as well. And we hope to see you guys back here, hopefully for the first broadcasted race of the season, February 20th, for our Daytona race, potentially earlier. I believe it would be February 6th for the Highline duels. So once again, thank you, David. Thank you to everybody watching, and we hope to see you back here soon.
And Adam Bozzi, thank you for your, first and foremost, continued work in bringing this league to us here. It's been an amazing year of seeing the Highline Racing League with the biggest, not only, of course, when we talk about the numbers of drivers we've had, but some crazy good racing from flag to flag, from beginning to end. Thank you again, and we are especially excited for what's yet to come.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And with Bozzi on the move, we've gotten a word from your top 3, your champion, and your league owner. And once again, the Highline Racing League comes to a close for 2024. Alan Cumming, as he finished 2023, or rather, as he started it, he's once again a champion to end 2024. And Tyler Hampton has done his thing again to win his 3rd consecutive championship finale race. What a way to end this year. First and foremost, we'd like to give our final messages on FTN. Thank you to the entire Highline Racing League staff, including Adam Bozzi, Kendall Kerr, Toby Wedgwood, and those who have allowed us to continue on FTN broadcasting to cover this event. We'd like to extend our best wishes to the family of Dylan Body, Scott Puckett, afflicted by the most recent hurricane season, and all those in North Carolina, who many of which are involved deeply in the sim racing community. Thank you for tuning in live on FTN Broadcasting. The audience, in large part, is the reason we've come back many a season since Season 14 in 2022, and we are excited, hopefully, to come back in 2025 once again. I've been David Kreutz, commentating and producing, and I would hope to see you all back again in February when the Highline Racing League gets things going again at the high banks of the Daytona International Speedway. From the virtual Auto Club Speedway, you've been watching the Westlake Royal Building Products Premier Series. Thank you once again again to the Brooks family for bringing the support and the primary sponsorship for several seasons here in Westlake for their continued support to the Highline Racing League. From the virtual Fontana, California, we conclude our 2024 string of broadcasting on FTN on Thursday nights. The Iora Cup Series will continue until the championship runs its term, and we'll come back in 2025 better than ever before. Thank you for tuning in tonight. We hope to see you back next year. Congratulations to Tyler Hampton for his victory in the Auto Club Speedway and Alan Kunman for his second career championship win. We hope you have a fantastic night, and we thank you for watching the Highline Racing League on FTN.